Hello and welcome to my true crime segment. I am going to get set up and wash my face and then we will get started. Okay?
Dogs and a cat. There wasn't a lot of space for me to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, homie.
Hello guys. Welcome to the Golden State Killer segment. We're just going to jump right in. Okay? Joseph James DeAngelo Jr. was born on November 8th, 1945, and is an American serial killer, serial rapist, burglar, and former police officer who committed at least 13 murders, 50 rapes, and 120 burglaries across California between 1974 and 1986. He was responsible for at least 3 separate crime sprees throughout the state, each of which spawned a different nickname in the press. In the San Joaquin Valley, he was known as the Visalia Ransacker before moving to the Sacramento area, where he became known as the East Area Rapist and was linked by his M.O. to additional attacks in Contra Costa County, Stockton, and Modesto. DeAngelo committed serial murders in Santa Barbara, Ventura, and later and Orange counties, where he was known as the Night Stalker, and later the original Night Stalker, owing to serial killer Richard Ramirez. There's a segment coming on him, also being called the Night Stalker. He is believed to have taunted and threatened both victims and police in obscene phone calls and possibly written communications. In 2001, after DNA testing indicated that the East Area Rapist and the original Night Stalker were the same person, the combined acronyms EARONS came into use. So, ERONS? The case was a factor in the establishment of California's DNA database, which collects DNA from all accused and convicted felons in California, and has been called second only to Virginia's ineffectiveness in solving cold cases. To heighten awareness of the case, crime writer Michelle McNamara coined the name Golden State Killer in early 2013. On April 24th, 2018, authorities charged 72-year-old DeAngelo with 8 counts of first-degree murder. Based upon DNA evidence, investigators had identified members of DeAngelo's family through forensic genetic genealogy. Owing to California's statute of limitations on pre-2017 rape cases, DeAngelo could not be charged with 1970s rapes, but he was charged in August 2018 with 13 related kidnapping and abduction attempts. On June 29, 2020, DeAngelo pleaded guilty to multiple counts of murder and kidnapping. As part of a plea bargain that spared him the death penalty, DeAngelo also admitted to numerous crimes with which he had not been formally charged, including rapes. On August 21st, 2020, DeAngelo was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. His parents were Kathleen Louise DeGroat and Joseph James DeAngelo, a sergeant in the United States Army. He has 2 sisters and a younger brother. A relative reported that when DeAngelo was a young child, he witnessed the rape of the 7-year-old sister by 2 airmen in a warehouse in West Germany, where the family was stationed at the time. Prosecutors reported that DeAngelo committed burglaries and tortured and killed animals during his teenage years. DeAngelo joined the United States Navy. Again, I say this in every segment. It kills me that they are always part of the military. Why? In September 1964, and served 22 months during the Vietnam War as a damage controlman on the cruiser USS Canberra and the destroyer tender USS Piedmont. From May 1973 to August 1976, DeAngelo was a burglary unit police officer in Exeter. having relocated from Citrus Heights. He then served in Auburn from August 1976 to July 1979. When he was arrested for shoplifting a hammer and dog repellent, he was sentenced to 6 months probation and fired that October. During the process of being fired, D'Angelo threatened to kill the chief of police and allegedly stalked the chief's house. I mean, I don't know what I mean. That says a little cuckoo bananas, but whatever. In May 1970, D'Angelo became engaged to nursing student Bonnie Jean Caldwell, a classmate at Sierra College, but she broke it off in 1971 after D'Angelo became manipulative and abusive. After the breakup, he threatened her with a gun in order to force her to marry him. In November 1973, he married Sharon Marie Huddle and Placer, now called Loomis. In 1980, they purchased a house in Citrus Heights, where he was eventually arrested decades later. Huddle became a divorce attorney, ironically, in 1982, and they had 3 daughters. The couple separated in 1991. In July 2018, several months after D'Angelo's arrest, Huddle filed for a divorce, which was finalized the following year. Honestly, I don't know why, if they were separated, why it took until his arrest for her to get a divorce. Because, I mean, if you're separated from somebody and you want to be seeing other people, I can't see why you would still want to be legally married to somebody you're not even with. It's like 17 years before you get a divorce. Is that 17 years? No, that's actually more than that. It's 27 years. Sorry, 27 years. Like, that's a long time to just be separated, in my opinion. But what do I know? When I got divorced, I wanted out of that shit. So from 1989 until his retirement in 2017, he worked as a truck mechanic at a Save Mart Supermarkets distribution center in Roseville. He was arrested in 1996 for failing to pay for gas, but the charge was dismissed. Y'all had him so many times. That's what gets me. You had him so many times, and y'all never did anything that could have, like, put him away for life. But no, why would we do that? That would be too easy. If they ever did that, I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have a job telling you about these stories. So, DNA evidence linked D'Angelo to 8 murders in Gilletta, Ventura, Dana Point, and Irvine. 2 other murders in Goleta, lacking DNA evidence, were linked by modus operandi. D'Angelo pleaded guilty to 3 other murders, 2 in Rancho Cordova, and 1 in Visalia. He also committed more than 50 known rapes in the California counties of Santa Clara and Yolo, and he was linked to hundreds of incidents of thefts, burglaries, vandalism, thieving, stalking, and prowling. I don't know how this dude got away with this for so long, because, like, obviously you're not doing your job, guys, in the whole, catching the bad guy part, It was long suspected that the training ground for the criminal who became the East Area rapist was Visalia, although earlier Visalia crimes dating back as early as May 1973 and other sprees like that of the Cordova cat burglar and the Exeter ransacker, as well as Visalia burglaries that took place after the McGowan shooting, are now suspected to be linked as well. Over a period of 20 months, D'Angelo is believed to have been responsible for 1 murder and around 120 burglaries. Just 1 murder, but I mean, still, like, I just don't understand how it took them so long to link these crimes together. Is there not, like, a statewide database for, like, crimes? In California? If you're in California, can you tell me? Is there, like, a statewide database? because, like, I think we have one here, but I don't know. I'm not in law enforcement, so I don't know how any of that works. In late April 2018, the Visalia chief of police stated that while there was no DNA linking D'Angelo to the Central Valley cases, his department had other evidence that played a role in the investigation, and he was confident that the Visalia ransacker had been captured. D'Angelo was formally charged on August 13, 2018 with the first-degree murder of Claude Snelling in 1975. In 2020, D'Angelo pleaded guilty to the Snelling murder. Second here. There we go. Common MOs of the burglaries included climbing fences and moving through established routes such as parks, walkways, ditches, and trails, attempting to pry open multiple points of entry, particularly windows, leaving multiple points of escape open, especially windows, as well as the house, garage, and garden doors, moving removed window screens onto beds or into bedrooms, placing warning items such as dishes or bottles against doors and on door handles, and wearing gloves, given the absence of fingerprint evidence. Like, criminals are not smart, but you know what? At least they, like, caught on, you know? Started wearing gloves. I'll be back in just a second. I'll be back in 2 more seconds. I'm going to do eyeliner real quick. I'm not allowed to call you stupid. Don't call me stupid.
I didn't call you stupid. I'm talking shit.
Anyway, I'm back.
I'm not talking to you anymore today.
Okay. On September 11th, 1975, D'Angelo broke into the home of Claude Snelling, 45, at 532 Whitney Lane, now South Whitney Street. Snelling, a journalism professor at the College of the Sequoia, had previously chased a prowler discovered under his daughter's window around 10 p.m. on February 5th, 1975. On September 11th, he was awakened around 2 a.m. by strange noises. Upon leaving his bedroom, Snelling ran through the open back door and confronted a masked intruder in his carport, attempting to kidnap his daughter, who had been subdued with threats of being shot or stabbed. Snelling was then shot twice, staggered back into the house to his wife, and later died. Makes sense.
Are you okay? I'm not there with you today.
My dog's not feeling good, so she's kind of comforting my dog. D'Angelo originally targeted women alone in their homes or with children. He eventually preferred attacking couples. This change in MO is believed to be a direct result of media reports claiming that he only attacked women alone in the home. The victims were bound and gagged, usually by forcing the female victim to tie up her male companion and then binding the woman. He then separated the couple, often stacking dishes on the man's back and threatening to kill everyone in the house if he heard them rattle. He would move the woman to the living room and rape her, often repeatedly. A decade later, police reported that D'Angelo reportedly said, "I hate you, Bonnie," during a 1978 rape, the 37th attack. His murders were all as follows. All were either shot or bludgeoned to death. Monday, October 1st, 1979, 0 deaths, attempted murder, botched. Sunday, December 30th, 1979, Robert Offerman, 44, Deborah Manning, 35, were found shot to death on Avenida Pequana in Joletta. I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it is what it is. Thursday, March 13th, 1980, Charlene, 33, and Lyman, 44, Smith. Charlene had been raped. A log from a woodpile on the side of this house was used to bludgeon the victims to death. Tuesday, August 19th, 1980, Keith, 24, and Patrice, 27, Harrington were found bludgeoned to death. Friday, February 6th, 1981. Manuela Wihun, 28, was raped and murdered in her home, and she was bludgeoned to death. Monday, July 27th, 1981. Sherry Domingo, 35, and Gregory Sanchez, 27. Sanchez was shot and wounded in the cheek before he was bludgeoned to death with a garden tool. Sunday, May 4th, 1986. Janelle Cruz, 18, was found after she was raped and bludgeoned to death in her home. Her family was on vacation in Mexico at the time of the attack. A pipe wrench was determined to be the murder weapon. A pipe wrench. Several people were considered and later eliminated as suspects. Brett Gatsby was considered a suspect by Santa Barbara County investigators. He had murdered in Mexico in 1982. He was murdered in Mexico in 1982 before the murder of Janelle Cruz, eliminating him as a suspect. Paul Cornfed Schneider was living in Orange County when the Harringtons, Manuela Wihun, and Janelle Cruz were killed. A DNA test cleared him in the 1990s. Joe Alsip, a friend and business partner of the victim Lyman Smith, Alsip's pastor, said that Alsip had confessed to him during a family counseling session. Alsip was arraigned for the Smith murders in 1982, but the charges were later dropped, and his innocence was confirmed by DNA testing in 1997. D'Angelo was also suspected of committing the 1974 Visalia rape and murder of Jennifer Armour, the 1975 Exeter rape of Donna Jo Richmond, and 1978 murder of a woman and her son in Simi Valley, but was cleared as a suspect in all three murders by DNA testing. Victoria police ruled out a link between D'Angelo and the Melbourne serial child rapist and murderer known as Mr. Cruel. On April 24th, 2018, Sacramento County Sheriff's deputies arrested D'Angelo. He was charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances. On May 10th, Santa Barbara County District Attorney's Office charged D'Angelo with 4 additional counts of first-degree murder. Just a minute. There we are. Give me just a second. I'm going to set up my hair thing. That was way harder than it needed to be. Okay. Identification of D'Angelo had begun 4 months earlier when officials led by Detective Paul Holes and FBI lawyer Steve Kramer uploaded the killer's DNA profile from a Ventura County rape kit. Sorry, guys. I totally messed that up. Okay. To the personal genomics website, GEDmatch. The website identified 10 to 20 people who have the same great-great-grandparents as the Golden State Killer. From this tree, they established 2 suspects. One was ruled out by a relative's DNA test, leaving D'Angelo the main suspect. On April 18th, a DNA sample was surreptitiously collected from the door handle of D'Angelo's car. Another sample was later collected from a tissue found in D'Angelo's outside garbage can. Both were matched to samples associated with Golden State Killer crimes. Since D'Angelo's arrest, some commentators have raised concerns about the ethics of the secondary use of personally identifiable information. D'Angelo made a confession of sorts after his arrest that cryptically referred to an inner personality named Jerry, who had forced him to commit the wave of crimes that ended in 1986. D'Angelo said the following to himself while alone in a interrogation room. Quote, "I didn't have the strength to push him out. He made me. He went with me. It was like..." I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with this lip. Hold on. Sorry about that. This lipstick gives me trouble sometimes. It's new. So, anyway, D'Angelo said the following to himself while alone in a police interrogation room. Quote, "I didn't have the strength to push him out. He made me. He went with me. It was like in my head. I pushed Jerry out and had a happy life. I did all those things. I destroyed all their lives. So now I've got to pay the price." D'Angelo could not be charged with the rapes or burglaries as the statute of limitations had run out, but he was charged with 13 counts of murder and 13 counts of kidnapping. On March 4th, 2020, D'Angelo offered to plead guilty if the death penalty were taken off the table, which was not accepted at the time. On June 29th, as part of a plea bargain to avoid the death penalty, D'Angelo pleaded guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder and special circumstances, including murder committed during burglaries and rapes, as well as 13 counts of kidnapping. On August 21st, 2020, D'Angelo received multiple consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. D'Angelo committed most of the offenses while he was married and raising a family. Neither his wife nor his children ever suspected he was committing serious crimes. His eldest daughter thought he was the perfect father, while his wife believed his reasons for being away from home. In November 2020, D'Angelo was transferred to the North Kern State Prison. As of February 2021, D'Angelo is incarcerated in protective custody at California State Prison. So it's pretty evident that this guy will never see the light of day again. Which, I mean, rightfully so. But I was under the understanding in my research that he's set into motion the question of whether or not law enforcement should be allowed to use websites like 23andMe to identify killers, because especially if it's not directly like a suspect DNA that you're looking at, if it's like a family member or something, like, I don't know, I think if like D'Angelo himself submitted his DNA to like find out about his genealogy, that's one thing. Fuck! I burnt myself. That's great. Then that's one thing, but using the DNA of like a family member, I'm fully against that. Baby, can you find the burn cream in my tote? Oh, never mind. I have a first aid kit over here. Should have burn cream in it. Oh my god, that hurt. But he kind of set into motion the whole like law about whether or not you can use websites like that to identify killers. And I absolutely agree with that, because like I said, I feel like using a family member is not the same as you know, it's not the same as running the like DNA of like a serial killer or whatever. Does that make sense? How do you open this? Give me just a second. I figure this out. I went through all that just to find out there's no burn cream in the entire first aid kit, which is amazing to me because why have a first aid kit if there's no burn ointment in there? Anyway, back to the Golden State Killer.
Yeah.
I think it's just freaking insane that it took them so long to connect them anyway, because as I mentioned earlier, I don't know, I'm not from California, I've never been to California, I don't really know anyone from California, but most states have a statewide database that they enter crimes into.
Actually, you're gonna have to move
Right.
again.
So,
Move.
there should have been
Come on,
some way to connect his crimes together. That's what I would think. Obviously, I'm wrong, because they didn't know that he was the one who did it until they got his DNA evidence from the genealogical website. Still kills me. So obviously that's not an option, but most of the time they have a way of connecting these crimes. So I just think that there were other options that they could have explored without using the DNA of a family member, because it also, like, I mean, I get how it helps solve crimes, but is it really going to help you if people stop using said website because they don't want to know or to know if they are connected to, like, serial killers or whatever? Like, I don't want to know. I mean, for all I know, I could be a long lost descendant of fucking, like, Jack the Ripper or some shit. But I don't want to know. I wouldn't want to know. Would you want to know, baby? If you were related to a serial killer.
Yeah, what'd you drop?
My fucking earrings. This is not my day, guys.
Why
It's
you
not
keep
my
putting
day.
them up there?
I had them out because I was putting in earrings.
Oh.
Anyway, I should probably go clean up the mess I just made because my life sucks today. So, I will see you all tomorrow for another makeup look. This was the makeup look, by the way, for Alice in Wonderland. So I will see you all tomorrow for another makeup look. Next Friday, I will see you for True Crime and Makeup Friday. And have a wonderful day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Be cautiously kind to others. And as always, make good choices. Bye.